Chase.
Everybody say hi, Eric and Chase.
Hi.
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 4-8 is what we're starting for notes. I said that this is the remainder theorem, and then there's something called the factor theorem that we do at the very, very end. And what we're doing to start with is we are looking at this function here, negative 3x squared plus 5x plus 4, and we are dividing that by x minus 3. And we can do that by either long division or synthetic division. So to set it up in long division, it looks like this. We put the inside as what we're dividing by, or what we're dividing. Why am I not writing? Why am I not writing? Hold on, give me a moment. Nope, I'm still not writing. It's like my thing froze. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, my iPad is like frozen. Okay, let me put it to sleep. We'll wake it back up.
What?
Yeah, she did.
There we go. Now we're back. Okay, so long division. We put what we're dividing by on the inside, or what we're dividing on the inside, what we're dividing by on the outside. So x minus 3 goes on the outside. Everything else goes on the inside. And they've done the long division, and they've done everything. And then what did they get as a remainder? Negative 8. Okay? So we would write our negative 8 as a remainder as minus 8 over what? X minus 3 is what we're dividing by. Okay, we write that as a negative 8 over x minus 3, and that's what the whole thing would look like. But negative 8 was my remainder, right? Woo, you can't see. We'll zoom back out. Okay, negative 8 was the remainder. All right, now if I do synthetic division, they kind of set it up as a weird looking box. Usually I just do my box that looks like this, so kind of make your lines look like I do. Why is 3 on the outside here? Yeah, it's a 0. If you set x minus 3 equal to 0, x is actually equal to 3. So that was the weird thing with synthetic division. You have to set it equal to 0. 3 goes on the outside, okay? And then my coefficients, these guys here, negative 3, 5, and 4, they go down here. And then I drop the 3, and then I multiply to get negative 9, and then I add to get negative 4, and then I multiply to get negative 12, and then I add to get negative 8, and my remainder is negative 8. As it should be, right? We were doing the same thing as long division. So long and synthetic division, I should get the same answer, right? It's just a different way of doing the same problem. So I should get my answers to be exactly the same for long and synthetic division, okay? Now, there is one thing, and it is called the remainder theorem. And this is a way of that I am able to check my answer to see if I got the answer right. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to go over here in this little blank area. I am trying to take negative 3x squared plus 5x plus 4, and I am dividing that by x minus 3. That's what I'm doing, okay? And if I want to check my answer, what I can do is, the first thing I do is I set this guy equal to 0, so x equals 3, right? I can take this 3 and I plug that 3 in for x in my equation, and we get an answer, and we figure out what that answer is, right? Negative 3 times 3 squared plus 5 times 3 plus 4. What do you think the answer is going to come out to be? What? Because this is called the remainder theorem, right? It should be negative 8, right? So whatever we plug in should come out to be negative 8, okay? So let's do this. 3 squared is 9. Negative 3 times 9 is negative 27 plus 15 plus 4, okay? 15 and 4 make 19, because if you want to add the positives together first, I add the positives out of the negatives. What's negative 27 plus 19? It is negative 8, you betcha. Okay, so that's a way of me checking to see if my answer is right. Now, that did not give me the entire thing that I get when I divide it out, but chances are that if my remainder is correct, the rest of it's also correct, right? Unless I made 2 wrong mistakes somewhere, right? But chances are if your remainder of this number is the right number, then the rest of it's probably going to be right as well. Does that make sense? Okay? So checking your answer, just plug the number in, and then you get what the remainder should be. Okay? So let's go down and do one of these. They're saying here, that process is called synthetic substitution, by the way. So if they ask for that, you're just plugging stuff in. Substitution means plug it in, okay? So over here, they do not give us what we are starting with and what we're dividing by. Let's try to put this back together, okay? If 4 is my number on the outside, this guy right here, if 4 is the number on the outside, what was I dividing by probably?
X minus 4.
X minus 4, right? If you set it equal to 0, it's going to be a positive 4, okay? Now, what does this thing look like if I put the x's and stuff back into it? This guy is going to be my number, right? The 5 is going to have an x. The 0 is going to have x squared. The negative 2 is going to have an x to the third power. The 3 is going to have an x to the fourth power. Does that make sense? Okay, so what we were dividing by was 3x to the fourth minus 2x to the third. Do you see where I'm getting these numbers from? Plus 0x squared plus 5x plus 2. And I was taking that and I was dividing by x minus 4. Now, Luke is saying, do we have to have the 0x squared in there? Is that what you were going to say, Luke?
Sure.
Yes. No, you don't necessarily have to. But when you do your synthetic division, don't forget to put the 0 in there, right? So technically this 0x squared doesn't necessarily have to be in there, right? Okay, but we'll put a 0 in there when we are synthetic dividing, okay? So that's what we're trying to accomplish here by our synthetic division, and let's go ahead and do the process. So, that's not what I want to do. Okay, let's fill this process out. What do we do first for this synthetic division? Drop 3. 3 goes down. Okay, and then 4 times 3 is 12. Negative 2 and 12 makes 10. 4 times 10 is 40. 0 and 40 makes still 40. 4 times 40 is 160. Add those two together. 165. 4 times 165 is like 660. Somebody check me.
Wait, I got.
Is that right? And you add those together and that makes 662.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my Lord. So my remainder is 662. And if I give you that as a homework problem, what's in the back of your mind right now?
I'm gonna cry.
I did something wrong because there's no way the remainder is 662. But we have a fancy way of checking to see if it actually should be 662, right? This is what I was dividing. I was taking 3x to the fourth minus 2x to the third plus 0x squared plus 5x plus 2, and I was dividing by x minus 4. So we can plug in, we can replace the x with 4. We were dividing by x minus 4, right? But that means x is equal to 4. So that's what we're plugging in. We're plugging 4 in, okay? So let's plug 4 in. 3 times 4 to the fourth power minus 2 times 4 to the third power plus 0 times 4 squared, which you don't really have to write out, but we'll just write it out, plus 5 times 4 plus 2. Do you see where I'm getting this stuff from? This equation over here, okay? All right, and let's simplify him, okay? 4 to the fourth power is a really gross number. It's 16 to the second power, which is 256, but then you take that times 3, and that is something really huge. Like 4 to the fourth power means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So if you multiply these 4s, that's 16. These 4s, that's 16. 16 times 16 is 256. Right? Okay. 256 times 3, Taylor got what? 768. Okay. 4 to the third power. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4? 64. You can do that times 2. What's 64 times 2? Minus? 128. Okay? 0 times 4 to the second power. It's 0 times 16, which is 0. So we're going to cross it off. 5 times 4 is 20 and 2. Okay, now you can do this in your head. What's 768 minus 128? 640, right? 7 minus 1 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. 8 minus 8 is 0. 640 plus, this guy is 22. What's 640 plus 22? 662, like it should be, right? That matches the remainder here. Does that make sense? So we did our synthetic division right. It was correct. Okay, but if I look at that synthetic division, I'm going to say like, oh man, I made a mistake. On a test, if I tell you to do longer synthetic division, I would always plug that number back in just really quick to see if you are right, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
So why can't we just plug it into the equation normally? Why would we start out with synthetic division?
So that's a good question. So why wouldn't we plug it in to start with? 662 will only give me the remainder. It will not give me the rest of the equation. Does that make sense? Okay. So if I want the rest of it, then I have to actually do the longer synthetic division. But if I just want the remainder, then, you can just plug it in. Now, the really good thing about the remainder is that what I can do, I'm going to skip down to example 3 real quick. Can I skip to example 3? Go to the back side, skip to example 3. If I want to see if x minus 5 is a factor of this equation, what does it mean to be a factor?
Multiply it so many times to get that.
Factor means
It's like a multiple.
Can be
it's a multiple. It
multiplied.
goes in to the equation evenly. Like, does 2 go into 16 evenly? Yes. Does 2 go into 31 evenly? No, because it has a remainder if you would divide it, okay? So the way that I can figure this out is if I take and look at x minus 5, I want to see if it goes into there. I can figure out what its remainder is. If the remainder is 0, meaning it doesn't have a remainder, then it goes in there perfectly and it is a factor, right? So I want to see if x minus 5 goes into that function evenly. Okay, let's see if it goes in there evenly. So x to the third minus 7x squared plus 7x plus 15. If I want to know the remainder, what am I going to plug in? I'm going to plug in just 5, right? X minus 5, I set that equal to 0, so x equals 5. I plug 5 in. Okay, so 5 to the third power minus 7 times 5 to the second power plus 7 times 5 plus 15. Okay, I'm just plugging that 5 in for x. Do you know what 5 to the third power is?
125.
125. Okay, 5 to the second power is 25. Do you know what 25 times 7 is? Do you know what 25 times 8 is? 4 times 25 is 100, so 8 times 25 is 200, but this is one less than that. So this is 175, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, do your 25s like that. Plus 35 plus 15. Okay? All right, 125 minus 75 is negative 50, and 35 and 15 is a positive 50. So negative 50 plus 50 is 0. What does that mean? That means it doesn't have a remainder. So if I were to divide this guy by x minus 5, he would go in there evenly and I would not have a remainder. Okay? Determine whether it is a factor. Is it a factor? Yes. X minus 5 is a factor of x cubed minus 7x squared plus 7x plus 15. I don't know why I circled that. What? You're going to say yes, it's a factor if you want to. Yep. Yes, it is a factor. Okay? I'm going to skip the part where it says, then find the remaining factors of the polynomial. We're going to skip that part. Okay? That's something that we do in trig class. Okay? Makes sense? Good? Okay? So yes, it is a factor because it goes in there evenly. All right, let's look at this one. The number of college students from the United States who study abroad can be modeled by this function here, blah, 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 where x is the number of years since 1993. So what that means is that year 0, when x is 0, that corresponds to 1993. Okay? What would year 1 be? 1994. What would year 10 be?
2003.
2003, right? That's how those guys would work, right? Okay. They want to know how many U.S. college students will study abroad in 2018. Okay, 2018 corresponds to, they say x equals 25, but how did you find that? How many years past 1993 is 2018? 2018 minus 1993 is 25 years, okay? So what we want to do is we want to plug 25 in for x. There and there and there and there and there and all the places, right? Okay, I'm going to do that for you because we did it earlier on Desmos. So here we go. Will you check this equation, though, to make sure that we have it right? It is 0.02x to the fourth minus 0.52x to the third plus 4.03x squared. I can't see the rest of it. Let's go that way. Plus 0.09x plus 77.54. Okay, and I went ahead and named that f of x. So that way I could say f of 25, and f of 25 is 2,286.04. Write that down. 2,286.04. I'll say S of 25, because that's what they've named it, equals 2,800 and what is it? 286.04. Did I do that right? So how many people will study abroad?
That many people?
This many people. Because you can't have 0.04 of a person, even if you lump their arms and legs off. Because I know that's going to be the next thing that Caden's going to say.
It says students in thousands.
In thousands. I didn't even read that.
So
in thousands.
Part of it, so.
You're right. So how many is that actually? In thousands. That many thousand. Thousand means we move the decimal place, what, 3 places?
So 2.2 million?
So it's 2.2 million, right? 2,286,040 people.
Yeah.
That many people.
So
I didn't even think about that. Ah, so it's not a decimal place. But there you go. Okay? That many people are going to study abroad in the United States in 2018. Except 2020 doesn't apply because they don't let any people study abroad this year.
Why not?
Because of COVID. They send everybody back. You must stay in your home country.
What is abroad?
Study abroad? Like study abroad means like you go to a different country. Like a foreign exchange. That's what study abroad is. Okay? Find function values.
Sister-in-law in Mexico. It's so beautiful there.
Your brother lives in Mexico?
He's in Mexico.
He's in Mexico now?
My sister-in-law.
So it's his wife.
Yes,
Oh
this is
man,
her.
oh man.
No, my other sister.
Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. After I give you your sheet of paper. Or no, after
Would you like me to pass those up for you?
Then I'm gonna do one.
Divide using long division.
Okay,
It'd be
so
nice if our table was.
here's what I have you do. Skills practice. The only one that you have to do is number 2, which we're gonna do together.
Nice.
So we're gonna do number 2 together on skills practice, but on practice you have to do all of them.
Where's that spray?
What spray?
Spray. Pig spray.
The what?
The disinfectant spray.
I don't know. Wherever you put it. What?
It used to be up there.
Yeah, I know.
I touched this paper and I was just on this.
No, I got 10 of it.
Oh, you did not. I don't know. Here. Use this.
It actually is a table.
That was a really short throw too. That was not a very good throw. Okay, so 4-8. Skills practice, we're going to do number 2 together, but then you don't have to do 1 and 3 and 4, okay? But on practice, you have to do all of them. All 1 through 5. There's only 5 problems. But there's A, B, and C. Okay, so number 2, divide using long division. That's the first thing that we're going to do. Let's set up the long division, okay? Long division looks like this. X minus 2 goes on the outside. X squared minus x plus 1. This is taking us back, right? Long division. Woo!
So if we're solving it by synthetic division, why do we have to solve it by long division?
Because they want us to do both, just to practice doing both. I don't know. Divide using long division. So here we go. We're set up, ready to go. First thing that we do, what do we ask ourselves first? What can you multiply by x to get x squared?
X.
X. So x goes on the top. Okay? Then you multiply back through. X times x is x squared. That goes down here. Then you take x times negative 2. Negative 2x. And then what?
You switch signs.
Switch the signs. So minus, and then this guy becomes a plus. And then we cross stuff out. X squared cancel out. If they don't, you did something wrong. Okay? How many x's do you have?
1.
Negative x plus 2x is 1x. And then you drop the 1 down. Plus 1. Okay? Alright, and then we repeat the process again. So, what do you take times x to get 1x?
1.
Just 1, so plus 1. Okay? 1 times x is 1x. 1 times negative 2 is minus 2. Am I going too fast?
Nope.
Nope. And then you
Switch signs.
switch signs, minus plus. This guy cancels out, and your remainder is
3.
3. So how do we write that?
3 over x plus 1 and 3.
Plus 3 over x minus 2. You betcha. That's that guy. That's our answer. Okay? That wasn't too bad, right? Not too bad. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but synthetic division, and we should get the same answer, right?
You missed the 5.
What?
Or the 6.
We missed the 6. There is no 6.
Almost. It's
Well,
slowly working.
I'm all wrong.
You're on the wrong side. No, you're on the right side, but we have to do number 2.
Oh, okay. I was kind of concerned. Like,
We're
I
doing
thought
number
we
2
were
together.
You guys did.
Okay? Divide using synthetic division. So now we're going this direction. And we're dividing by x minus 2. So x equals positive 2, and that's what goes on the outside, right? Okay? Now my coefficients that go across the top here. I can't write again.
1 minus 1 plus 1. I don't really know.
I don't know why it's not letting me write.
What did you get for
It's like, just like, oh, wait a second.
1, X
I gotta
minus
shut it off and turn it back on.
2, X plus
It says too
1.
many bad students are.
You think so? Okay, coefficients out in front. This guy is a 1. Nope, it's still not letting me write. Why is it not letting me write? Ah! 1. No. Where are you?
Shut your
Where
phone
did
off.
you go?
Shut your phone off, please. And then pick it back up.
Dismiss. Nope, my pen is... Apple Pencil. Is my pencil dead? I wonder.
Yeah.
How can that even happen? I plug it in now.
has her own special assignment.
I put the thing on all the time. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Nope, still doesn't work.
I'm sure your Apple
Well, I
phone
got the
is
same thing for synthetic division, so.
I mean, you should.
Can you just use your finger?
No, it won't let me use my finger either.
Why is this a system? This is horrible.
I know, isn't that ridiculous? Oh, wait a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, we better go fast
Just
because it's
scratch
working
the
now.
screen.
Okay,
You wouldn't be able to
coefficients
see
across the
that.
top is 1, negative 1, and 1. So, 1, negative 1, 1. First thing you do is drop the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 1 and 2 makes 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Remainder is 3. And if I put all my stuff back together, this guy should have an x. This guy should just be my number, and this guy's my remainder. So, 1x is that guy, plus 1, plus 3 over what I was dividing by, which was x minus 2, and that's what he looks like. And that's what I got up here as well, right? You don't necessarily have to have the 1 in front of the x, though, but that's okay, right? Now, synthetic substitution, there was that word. That means we plug in. What are we plugging in?
3. Or no, we're trying to get that.
We're trying to get that. We're plugging in 2 into my equation, okay? Equation was x squared minus x plus 1, and we're plugging 2 in. So plug 2 in here, 2 in here. And what should you get as the answer? Right, the remainder. So 2 squared is 4, 4 minus 2 plus 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is? Da da da! 3. So, we definitely for sure know that our answers for part A and B are right. The answer is 3. Okay, makes sense? That was the only problem that you had to do on that page. Just go ahead and do the other ones on the back page. Okay? Good? Makes sense?
Wait, that was the only one you had to do.
That's the only one you had to do on that page.
Why did number 1? Because
Okay,
I'm great at that.
there you go. But all of them on this back page. All right? Number 3, 4, and 5 are just asking you if they are factors. Okay? Use synthetic substitution to divide. Is x minus 2 a factor? Okay, let's review again. What does it mean if it's a factor? Or how do I know if it's a factor? If it goes into it evenly, which means what is happening? 0 is the remainder, exactly. Okay, so you plug it in, find the remainder. If the remainder is 0, then it's a factor. Some of them will be factors, some of them will not be. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop the video. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Erica and Chase.